It was my intention to stream today, but I got into a lot of stuff that was not anticipated, so I'll probably discuss it more at length tomorrow. Instead, we'll have a little bit of a just general news update. So, this Alabama state representative by the name of Terry Collins filed a bill that would ban nearly all abortions in the state of Alabama. She told the Montgomery Advertiser that it simply criminalizes abortion, and she told the newspaper she hopes the legislation, if passed, would prompt a legal challenge. It is meant to actually use some of the same language addressed in Roe v. Wade, so hopefully it completely takes it all the way to the Supreme Court, eventually to overturn it, she said. Collins' bill, known as HB 314, would prevent women from undergoing an abortion once the fetus is in utero. AL.com noted that the bill would prohibit abortions beginning 2 weeks after conception. Under the measure, performing an abortion would result in a Class A felony, which could result in between 10 and 99 years in prison. Damn. The act of attempting to perform an abortion would be viewed as a Class C felony, while the bill would not let women receive an abortion if they had a serious health risk, or would let women receive an abortion if they had a serious health risk. The legislation does not address cases of sexual assault or incest. The point is to acknowledge there is a baby, there is a person there, Collins said. Under Alabama law right now, that baby, that presence is already acknowledged under current law. The Montgomery Advised reported that the measure has 66 co-sponsors in the House. Alabama State Senator Greg Alperdin filed a similar bill in the upper chamber. The bill compares abortion in the U.S. to events such as the Holocaust and the Rwandan genocide. Jesus Christ. All of these are widely acknowledged to have been crimes against humanity, the bill states. By comparison, more than 50 million babies have been aborted in the United States since Roe's decision in 1973, more than 3 times the number who were killed in German death camps, Chinese purges, Stalin's gulags, Cambodian killing fields, and the Rwandan genocide combined. The ACLU of Alabama told AL.com that the bill would fail, adding that attempts to restrict access to abortion in the South have been unsuccessful and have been enjoined by the federal courts and will continue to be enjoined by the federal to be enjoined by the federal courts. They didn't put the by in there, but we've had plenty of articles on here where the person who writes it has a spelling error. Uh, so two things. One is that in this article she mentions, not she, but the was this written by a woman? Let me see. They mentioned that because I had to look up the this guy's same name as me. Wow. Uh, the law and the fact that it's been around for 46 years. Now, why is that significant? Well, it's generally agreed that if something is around for long enough and it doesn't really impede life directly, people shouldn't mess with it. So, for example, no one is going to tell you we need to get rid of the Civil Rights Act. Whereas some people in the late 60s, early 70s would have said, that we could, throw that away. But the reason this is telling is that you have to ask yourself, at what point does something become pressed? And this is kind of what I mentioned when I said that with Obamacare, it gets stupider and stupider to repeal it every year because this thing's been around now for almost a decade, and all the alternatives are either have nothing or go back to the way it was before, or have something that ends up being less popular than the law that people are already saying is bad or wrong. So, you end up with this status quo of when do you accept what is the status quo? When do you say, okay, this has been around long enough, we're just going to leave this alone and try to do our own thing at some other point, or just accept that it happened. And these people act as if they can't accept that Roe v. Wade happened. They still like to take you back to 73 and go, oh man, forget the 40 plus years of the past. But then she also, in the bill, I don't know if she wrote it, but she probably, had some part in crafting it. She mentions all of these different events, right? Holocaust, the Cambodian stuff, just all of these different things. And when you hear that, you become convinced, hey, maybe this person has some adept level of knowledge about military interventions and human suffering and whatnot. Because, like I said before, U.S. bombed 7 countries. We've killed 85,000 children under the age of 5 in Yemen. So this you would think to yourself, maybe this is a person who could be identified as libertarian, and you could at least give them kind of a benefit of the doubt, saying, okay, they really care about life because they were pissed off by all these different events. But I guarantee you, I would bet uh, some good coins on, if you look at this particular state representative's career, she has never once spoken out against any of these different interventions the U.S. has been involved with, and she's never criticized the people who have been murdered for no reason. I mentioned before, I did a video on it, where we've had 1,000 people, innocent people, die in the last 4 years under the last two presidents, and I guarantee you, she never has spoken about this. So, all this stuff about caring about human life is a bunch of nonsense. And I love that they keep putting these laws up and they keep knowing it's not going to pass. It's just grandstanding and trying to have the moral superiority of recognizing uh, what horrible things you're going to do to the fetus. Get out of here, man. If you cared about that thing, you would actually try to make its life better after it gets out the stomach, but you don't. So grandstanding. Thank you.